Good evening, my friends. Happy New Year. I trust that your new year has started off on a positive footing. I trust that you are in a positive state of mind. We are moving on to day 9, part 2 of The Purpose Driven Life by Pastor Rick Warren. This section is speaking about surrender. So, as we start this presentation with this song, Withholding Nothing, that is what this day 9 is encouraging us to do, to surrender totally to God. God bless you. Enjoy.
Pray, God, if you are able to take away this pain, please do so. He had already affirmed that God can do anything. Instead he prayed, God, if it is in your best interest to remove this suffering, please do so. But if it fulfills your purpose, that's what I want, too. Genuine surrender says, Father, if this problem, pain, sickness, or circumstance is needed to fulfill your purpose and glory in my life or in another's, please don't take it away. This level of maturity does not come easy. In Jesus' case, he agonized so much over God's plan that he sweat drops of blood. Surrender is hard work. In our case, it is intense warfare against our self-centered nature. The blessing of surrender. The Bible is crystal clear about how you benefit when you fully surrender your life to God. First,
you experience peace. Stop quarreling with God. If you agree with Him, you will have peace at last, and things will go well for you. Next, you experience freedom. Offer yourselves to the ways of God, and the freedom never quits. His commands set you free to live openly in His freedom. Third, you experience God's power in your life. Stubborn temptations and overwhelming problems can be defeated by Christ when given to Him. As Joshua approached the biggest battle of his life, he encountered God, fell in worship before Him, and surrendered his plans. That surrender led to a stunning victory at Jericho. This is the paradox: victory comes through surrender. Surrender doesn't weaken you, it strengthens you. Surrender to God, you don't have to fear or surrender to anything else. William Booth, founder of the Salvation Army, said, "The greatness of a man's power is in the measure of his surrender." Surrendered people are the ones God uses. God chose Mary to be the mother of Jesus, not because she was talented or wealthy or beautiful, but because she was totally surrendered to Him. When the angel explained God's improbable plan, she calmly responded, "I am the Lord's servant, and I am willing to accept whatever He wants." Nothing is more powerful than a surrendered life in the hands of God. So give yourselves completely to God, the best way to live. Everybody eventually surrenders to something or someone. If not to God, you will surrender to the opinions or expectations of others, to money, to resentment, to fear, or to your own pride, lusts, or ego. You were designed to worship God, and if you fail to worship Him, you will create other things, idols, to give your life to. You are free to choose what you surrender to. But you are not free from the consequences of that choice. E. Stanley Jones said, "If you don't surrender to Christ, you surrender to chaos." Surrender is not the best way to live. It is the only way to live. Nothing else works. All other approaches lead to frustration, disappointment, and self-destruction. The King James Version calls surrender your reasonable service. Another version translates it the most sensible way to serve God. Surrendering your life is not a foolish emotional impulse but a rational, intelligent act. The most responsible and sensible thing you can do with your life. That is why Paul said, "So we make it our goal to please Him." Your wisest moments will be those when you say yes to God. Sometimes it takes years, but eventually you discover that the greatest hindrance to God's blessing in your life is not others, it is your self-will, stubborn pride, and personal ambition. You cannot fulfill God's purposes for your life while focusing on your own plans. If God is going to do His deepest work in you, it will begin with this. So give it all to God: your past regrets, your present problems, your future ambitions, your fears, dreams, weaknesses, habits, hurts, and hang-ups. Put Jesus Christ in the driver's seat of your life and take your hands off the steering wheel. Don't be afraid. Nothing under His control can ever be out of control. Mastered by Christ, you can handle anything. You will be like Paul: "I am ready for anything and equal to anything through Him who infuses inner strength into me." That is, I am self-sufficient in Christ's sufficiency. Paul's moment of surrender occurred on the Damascus road after he was knocked down by a blinding light. For others, God gets our attention with less drastic methods. Regardless, surrendering is never just a one-time event. Paul said, "I die daily." There is a moment of surrender, and there is the practice of surrender, which is moment by moment and lifelong. The problem with a living sacrifice is that it can crawl off the altar, so you may have to surrender your life 50 times a day. You must make it a daily habit. Jesus said, "If people want to follow me, they must give up the things they want. They must be willing to give up their lives daily to follow me." Surrender is not the best way to live. It is the only way to live. Nothing else works. Let me warn you, when you decide to live a totally surrendered life, that decision will be tested. Sometimes it will mean doing inconvenient, unpopular, costly, or seemingly impossible tasks. It will often mean doing the opposite of what you feel like doing. One of the great Christian leaders of the 20th century was Bill Bright, the founder of Campus Crusade for Christ. Through crusade staff around the world, the Four Spiritual Laws track, and the Jesus film, seen by over 4 billion people. More than 150 million people have come to Christ and will spend eternity in heaven. I once asked Bill, "Why did God use and bless your life so much?" He said, "When I was a young man, I made a contract with God. I literally wrote it out and signed my name at the bottom. It said, 'From this day forward, I am a slave of Jesus Christ.'" Have you ever signed a contract like that with God? Or are you still arguing and struggling with God over His right to do with your life as He pleases? Now is your time to surrender to God's grace, love, and wisdom.
I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can. Come on, let him know. I give myself.
Thank you for joining us for another evening reflection. We trust that the lessons being shared through Pastor Rick Warren's book, The Purpose Driven Life, will cause us to reflect on our own lives and to see whether or not we are in fact living a purpose-driven life. God bless you. Have a restful night. Bye-bye.